Collins is a master professional for the United States Professional Tennis Registry. He is the Director of Tennis and Head Professional at Augusta Country Club in Augusta, Georgia, and a member of the Gamma Racket Sports Senior Advisory Staff. He is also a member of the Speakers Bureau of the USPTR, which honored him in 1994 as International Professional of the Year. As creator of this innovative method of teaching and playing doubles, Pete has presented his successful doubles concepts to players and teaching professionals around the world. And now, from the Augusta Country Club, Successful Doubles Advanced Techniques with Pete Collins.
Wouldn't you like to have that volley? Well, you can't. The one skill that I really want you to have in successful doubles is that volleying skill. The volley sets up offense, it sets up defense. I want to show you the elements to a perfect volley. And once you learn the correct way to volley, you'll not only be intimidating, but you'll be worn out answering that phone call with people saying, "Can you come play doubles with me?" All right. If you think that Dave is a great volleyer because he's got great hands and a variety of volleys, you'd be wrong. What makes Dave a great volleyer is he's got one volley, but he's got great feet. The first important component of a volley is the power and control point. Where is this? Well, it's in between your shoulders. Now, this is a reason why a beginner, if you give him a racket, put him on the net, he'll do this. You notice that he hits the ball in front of him and between his shoulders because that's where he feels the most power. And that's true, that's where it is. But you can see that this position causes a very limited variety of shots that you can hit. The power point is though you're going to shake hands. Now just put your hand out like you're going to shake hands. You notice you didn't jam your elbow. You didn't reach out because it's not comfortable and it's not powerful. Now put your racket in your hand. The racket and the arm and the shoulders now form one unit that you want to keep together. To hit a forehand, you have a slightly open face. To hit a backhand, you'd slightly open on the other side. But the racket, arm, and shoulders are one unit I want you to keep together. Now that you know where the control point is, which is in front of you and between your shoulders, let's introduce the next component of a perfect volley, the shoulder turn. The shoulder turn is to keep the power point intact and to be able to hit a variety of low to high shots and also to be able to direct the ball. Let me show you a few examples. Well, you can see by keeping the power point between my shoulders, I was not only able to hit the ball with power and ease, but the racket face was set so it directed the ball. Remember, the racket face's job is not to hit the ball in the volley, it's to direct the ball. So get the racket in the power point, use your shoulder turn to get the racket set in its power control, and it directs the ball. You understand the upper body components, which are the power point between the shoulder blades, the importance of the shoulder turn to keep that power point intact and yet get it to the area where you can direct the ball with the least amount of effort. But as important as the upper body is, the lower body is equally important because we've got to get those feet moving so we can get the ball to hit the middle of the strings at the power point. It's the responsibility of the feet to get you into position to hit the ball in the middle of the racket without changing the relationship between the shoulder, arm, and racket. Keep it intact. It also enables you to get the racket in a power position to hit the low balls. Again, without changing the relationship between the shoulder, arm, and racket. Remember, a great volleyer has quick feet and slow hands. As you can see, a great volleyer has great feet, not great hands. So now you'll understand when I tell you and all my students, if you want to be a great volleyer, you've got to volley with your feet. Now that you know how to hit a volley and that you can hit the ball and direct it at the power point, you don't really need to hit with a follow through, but it's okay if you do. If you want to add a little follow through to your volley, that's fine. It's going to make the ball respond very quickly off your racket. It feels pretty good. It adds a little pop to the shot. There is nothing wrong with a nice short follow through once you learn where to hit the ball. So let me show you what a follow through does to the volley. See, the racket head stays with the ball. A little pop gives it a little zing. You don't have to have it to direct the ball into winning, but it's okay to use. In fact, when you do an undercut volley, which is again hit off the power point, you need a little follow through also. These are fine techniques to use in the volley, and I would recommend that you try them. Which grip should you use to volley? I recommend on the forehand you use the Eastern forehand grip. On the backhand, I want them to change to the Eastern backhand grip. Remember, they're taking the racket back, so they have time to change as they take the racket back. This gives them a little bit more stability behind the shot. As their strength and experience increases, I would recommend you try to get to a continental grip, which is halfway between the two. This gives you a little bit more variety in your volleys. Remember, the grip you use should be easy for you to use, but the important part is, can you set that racket quickly and easily so you can direct the ball. Now that you understand the importance of both the upper and lower body in a volley, let me add to your variety of shots by giving you that dreaded drop volley. That's for people who are at the baseline and you just want to hit a short ball that they never get to. Let me show you how it's done. Boy, that will annoy your opponents. Remember, in successful doubles, it's not how hard you hit the ball, it's where you hit the ball. And a perfect volley is a volley that the opponents never get to touch. I hit the ball in the same place with the same shoulder turn, I just softened my hands. There are two statements you hear about volleys all the time. Hit the ball in front of you and keep the racket head above the wrist. You know, they're absolutely correct. The problem is, a lot of people misunderstand what they're saying. That first statement that tennis players misconstrue is always keep the racket in front of you. Now that's true. That's great advice. But people don't understand what they're talking about. Now look it. Is this racket in front of me? Oh, no, of course. How about if I turn my shoulders? Is this racket now in front of me? Yeah, you think so. How about if I try to go down the line? Is this racket in front of me? You say, uh-oh, he's making a mistake. Really? How about this? Is this racket in front of me? Well, the answer is all of those are in front of me. Me is the word we're looking at. We're not talking about, is it closer to the net? Obviously not. But I'm hitting the tennis ball. I'm hitting the volley, so I must keep the racket in front of me. Here's my power point. So remember, it's where your power point is and your shoulder turn. It's not if the racket's closer to the net or not. Now let me show you some examples of what I'm talking about. See if I keep the power point intact, and if I turn this way, is it still a good volley? Well, let me see. A little turn, okay. More of a turn, okay. More of a turn, gee, hi. You know, that ball went pretty good. Was it behind me, or was it in front of me? Well, you can see that I was able to hit effective volleys with the racket here the racket here, and the racket here. And it wasn't because the racket was out in front or closer to the net. I kept it in the same place. I used one volley, and it was the same volley. And I simply turned my shoulder and directed the ball, but all of these were in front of me. The second misconception that I hear all the time is that you've heard the statement, keep the racket head above the wrist. Again, this is a true statement. Again, it's absolutely correct, your pro is correct. But people misinterpret it thinking, gee, I must get that ball down, look, I can keep that racket head above the wrist. Oh, you can see this is pretty tough to do even for a guy at my advanced stage. You don't have to do that. All you do for a low ball is bend your knees, bend and drop the racket head. You say, uh-oh, but the racket head is below his wrist. Is it? If it's below the wrist there, how come it's above the wrist here? What you have to understand, again, you're playing tennis, not the ground. Is the racket head lower to the ground? Yes. Is it above the wrist? Yes. What you've got to understand is you want to keep the angle between the racket shaft and your forearm intact. And as long as you keep that intact, the racket head is always above the wrist. So now you can get those low balls with balance and ease instead of trying this very difficult shot to do. You can see not only can I get a low ball, but you watch my balance. You must have balance in tennis. And only by using your legs, you're using your legs now, bend your knee, drop your legs, get that racket head down, but remember, you've kept it above your wrist. To stress the importance of volleying with your feet and not your hands, I often have my students do the volley with your feet drill. This method uses their feet to get to the ball and not the racket. So let's watch it in action. Here we go, Kristlyn. Get those feet moving and that racket stay still. Go, Dave. Fred, set that racket up. That's it. Move, Lauren. And Brian, get those feet moving. Bend. Oh, I made it tough, but you did it. That's it, Kristlyn. Move, Dave. Move those feet through that ball. Let's go, Fred. And Lauren, set up on the ball. Drop. That's it. Come on, Brian. And go right through it, Kristlyn. That's it. Look at how quiet the racket stayed, how quick the feet moved, and as you notice, the volleys were pretty good, weren't they? Use your feet, not your hands, and you become a great volleyer. Now let's see the students in action as they close in behind their shots, still using their feet and not their hands to control the volley. Okay, guys, let's go. Move in and split. Adjust your feet, adjust those feet, adjust those feet, adjust those feet. Let's go. That's it. Back up, Kristlyn. Hurry up. Try it again. Go, Fred. Let's go, Lauren. Split. Use those feet, Fred. Use those feet, Kristlyn. That's it. Use those feet. And put it away, Chris. You see that they really have to move their feet to get that racket in a power position. All right, Dave. Split. Good feet, Dave. Move in. Split. Good feet. Come in, Chris. Relax your hands. That's it. All right, go, Lauren. Good feet. Split. Come in behind Brian. Use those legs. That's it. Use those legs. That's it. Use those legs. Notice they're hitting the ball at the power point using foot speed and the shoulder turn to position themselves. There's no specific place. No. Okay. All right. As you can see, even attacking the net as you get closer and closer, it takes greater feet than it does hands to control the volley. Let's watch a doubles point by the students and see if they can use their volleys to win the point. That was great. Did you see how controlled their hands were and how quickly their feet moved? You just saw great examples of how you volley with your feet. All right. Did you see how easy they made it appear? Well, we now know that it isn't easy at all. It takes a great amount of footwork to hit that wonderful, consistent, and powerful forehand and backhand volley. So remember, use your feet, not your hands, and you become a great volleyer. Well, now you understand the essentials of a perfect volley. And before I show you how to turn this volley into a dangerous weapon in your doubles game, let's review.
The essentials of a perfect volley include placing your racket at the power point by centering it in front of you and between your shoulders, correctly setting the racket, arm, and shoulders as a single intact unit, using the racket face to direct the ball, and quickly adjusting your feet to get your racket to the power point.
Okay, Lauren used her skills as a great volleyer to intercept that ball and put it away. That's called a poach. A poach is a very effective tool to use in successful doubles. It not only controls time and action, but it's a great intimidator. So let's talk some more about the poach. Certain circumstances offer opportunities to poach during the point. Now, you may not be successful all the time with your poach, but that really doesn't matter, because successful doubles is all about seeing and understanding the possibilities. In successful doubles, to be a great poacher means you have to have great timing. You got to know when to go, or there's consequences to be paid. Now let's take a look at some examples of some good timing and some bad timing. Let's zero in on Kristen at the net, and let's see what happens on this instance. Well, you can see Kristen is anxious to get that volley. I told her to go get that thing, poach that ball, and so she left way too early. David's racket went back and she left. As you can see, he had plenty of time to recommit to a shot down the line, and Kristen was in trouble. Let's try another example. Kristen, let's try it again. Well, as an old student of mine, Kristen listens to me too carefully, I guess, and she stayed a long time. She wasn't going to get passed on the line, but again, she waited too long that time. She waited until the ball was hit. In successful doubles, you don't play reactive tennis. You must make up your mind before the ball is hit. So let's try it again and see if Kristen can get all these components together. Kristen, let's try it one more time. Okay, she covered a lot more distance, got to the ball, great poaching move, but how did she know when to go? Well, here's the answer. You don't want to leave too early, and that's when the racket goes back. No, they got too much time. You don't want to leave too late when the ball and the racket hit. That doesn't give you enough room to cover, enough distance to cover. You want to wait till the person commits to the shot, and that means when the racket starts forward, they're committed, now you go. So again, clue on the racket, watch the racket, key that racket face, and when the racket face starts forward, make your poach attempt. It's going to work most of the time. In successful doubles, my students are always looking for a chance to use movement to control the point. So Brian is looking for poaching situations while he's at the net. He understands if Fred hits a deep cross-court return, at least 3/4 deep or deeper, that's a great opportunity to poach. Let's see what happens. All right, look at his range. There's no way he could have gotten that unless he read the situation and was triggered and ready to move. You don't want to play against a great poacher, do you? Well, you've become one yourself. The second poaching opportunity occurs when you're around the service line, your opponents have moved in, but your partner hits a great double shot, low at their feet. This causes them to hit up. This is an opportunity for that net man to poach that ball. All right. That was wonderful. You see that low ball causes that ball to come up, and Kristen understood that and moved right as soon as that ball was hit and poached and put it away. So there was a great opportunity to poach. She took advantage of it. She's controlling the match. Okay, there's the third poaching situation. Well, what was it? Brian consistently hits that same return and Kristen's in trouble all the time. So Dave must understand, hey, this is a poaching situation. I must try to get to that ball that Brian hits. Even if I don't get there, I have to get him to try to change his mind, give him some more options. But if I can get to the poach, I'm sending a message. You got to get it by me, and maybe you have him think a little bit, which is what you want him to do. Okay, you can see that if Dave can get to that ball, not only may win the point, which is really not necessary, it's to send a message to Brian. I'm not going to let you have a consistent return that's easy for you. I'm going to be in your face. So that's poaching situation number 3. If your opponent has a consistent return and they are beating you with it, the next time they go to hit it, I want that net man right in the way. Well, Fred and Kristen are on my team. This is the first game of the first set. Let's see what happens. All right, she poached. This is the 4th poaching situation. I instruct my teams that if you play the net, you must attempt to poach during the first game. Why? I want you to influence your opponents, and you do that through movement. If you poach that during that first game, you're telling that opponent, look, you have to deal with me at the net. Maybe you should try a cross-court return that's harder. Maybe you should try a lob. But your job when you're playing the net is to influence the opponents by your movement. So attempt that poach during that first game. Send that message. The poach is a great way to use that volley. It's an intimidating factor on this doubles court. It controls time, and it creates offense and helps in defense. Let's review the poach.
The poach is an effective shot choice when your partner hits a return at least 3/4 deep, when a ball is hit at your opponent's feet near the service line, and when your opponent hits a consistent offensive return. You should also poach sometime during the first game. Even if it's unsuccessful, an early poach attempt lets your opponents know you are a force to be reckoned with.
I've been very lucky that I've been able to travel the country these last few years, giving my doubles clinics to many, many thousands of league players. And as I watch them play, I notice a lot of times they're in defensive positions when they should be in an attack position. And I ask them why, and invariably the answer is, oh, I'm afraid of that lob. So they'll put themselves in a defensive position to make sure that they're not lobbed. Well, in successful doubles, a lob is not an obstacle. It's an opportunity. So let me show you how I teach my teams to play against that dreaded lob. Kristen and Lauren have gotten great position on the net. They've hit a deep shot. What's the opponent going to do? Well, you know he's going to lob. Well, let's see what happens when I lob. They have no chance. You say, yeah, well, they shouldn't be at the net. No, they should have been at the net, but they can get that lob. If you'll notice, they both hesitated a second when the ball was hit. It cost them valuable position coverage. Whose lob was it? It was Lauren's lob, but it was also Kristen's lob. Anytime this side lobs, they both must say, that is my lob, and immediately go for it. I'll show you their roles in a minute, but right now let's see what they can cover if they both immediately move for the lob. Okay, you can see that since they moved immediately, they can cover a lot more. So secret number 1, if you're at the net and the lob is hit, both must go for the lob immediately. Lauren and Kristen are at the net. and now they know that the lob is theirs. Well, they know they're going to get to the lob now, but they have to have some kind of organization as to how to hit the shot. So here's what I want them to do. If the ball is hit over Kristen's head, and she can hit it in the air, this is how they play it.
Mine.
All right, she calls mine. As soon as she calls mine, the job is hers to hit it. Lauren knows to stop, look up, where are the opponents? If they're staying back, she gets to go back in. If they're coming in and it's a deep shot, she might want to hold her ground or maybe take a step or two back. Now let's take a look at what happens. If the lob is hit way over Kristen's head, come on up, Lauren. The lob is hit over her head and she cannot hit it. Let's see what happens. Go.
Yours.
All right. Since they both came, Kristen cannot hit the ball in the air, so now she calls yours, meaning go get it, Lauren. And as soon as she says yours, her job is changed from the hitter to the non-hitter. Now she is playing against the opponents. And she's moving over here. As soon as Lauren hits the shot, she splits and gets ready to attack or defend. Rules. If the ball is hit over your head, you have to make the call. If you can hit it in the air, say mine and attack the ball. If the ball goes over your head and you cannot hit it in the air, say yours, switch sides, look at your opponents, attack or defend. But in both cases, your team will get to the ball. And you'll be amazed at what you can do when the lob is hit. Now let's see how this lob coverage works.
Mine.
All right. The only way that Lauren could get to that ball was to move immediately, and Kristen was ready to go in case she missed. And as soon as Lauren said mine, Kristen's role reverses. She is now the defender.
Yours.
All right, great lob. There's the other circumstance. Wonderfully played. The reason Kristen was able to get to that ball because she immediately went for it. She's going for it until she hears mine. She did not hear mine. She heard yours. She continued on. Lauren said yours because she couldn't hit it in the air. So as soon as she says yours, she then turns and attacks the opponents. Are they coming in? She better back up, which they were. So she's now playing defense. As you can see, you do this correctly, you can get to any lob hit in doubles. In successful doubles, it's important that you learn to act before the ball is hit. Don't just react to the ball. Understand the situations on the doubles court and get ready to attack and defend according to what's going on out here. Now, I've got Lauren and Kristen about 3/4 court. I'm going to hit a ball deep to Brian. There's enough time for them to attack. But what should Brian hit back if they attack? There's that lob, and they should hit the lob. So let's see how they react to a lob situation. Hold it right there. In successful doubles, somebody has to attack. So I send Lauren, who's on the ball side, to attack. So when Brian, if he hits a short ball or a bad lob, she puts it away. Kristen, understanding that that's a lob situation, says Brian ought to lob that ball. She backs up, gets her balance, and gets set. Now look what Kristen can do. Cover a lob over there, cover a lob over there, cover anything back here, and she can also go over and get that cross-court shot. She's not as strong here as she was there for that shot, but she's much stronger for the lob. If Brian doesn't hit a good lob, guess what Lauren's going to do? Have a good time. So always put one of your people in an attack position, but set the other person up to cover in case that lob hits. If you understand how to position yourself before the ball is hit, this lob coverage is a piece of cake.
Yours.
All right. So the success of the point was the way that they set up. Kristen read the situation instead of going in, and even though she had time to attack, she understood Brian should lob this ball. Look where she got on the court. She was in perfect position to attack her lob. Lauren is now free to attack anything she comes. Learn position on the court. Learn the situations you've created. React to the situations before the ball is hit. Learn to act quickly, and you can play much better. In successful doubles, once you understand your role in lob situations, lobs become an opportunity to win, not an obstacle. Let's review lob coverage.
If both partners are at the net when a lob is hit, both should go for it immediately. The player who is lobbed calls mine if she can hit it in the air. If not, she calls yours, and they switch roles. The hitter attacks the ball, and the non-hitter attacks or defends the opponent's. When a lob is anticipated, the ball side player should attack the net to put away a weak shot, while the other partner positions herself behind the service line and in the middle of the court to handle a successful lob.
In successful doubles is all about potential. With the right movement and visual clues, you can play to your potential. Now, if you want to reach a higher level, increase your potential, learn to volley. Understand the essentials of that volley because it controls time and action on the doubles court. Combine that new skill with your ability to poach and your ability to cover lobs, and your life on this doubles court will become wonderful. Now go have a good time.
Successful Doubles Advanced Techniques is the second in a series of doubles instructional videos by Pete Collins, sponsored by Gamma Racket Sports. If you found Successful Doubles Advanced Techniques helpful to your doubles game, we invite you to add the first in the series, Successful Doubles Movement Priorities and Visual Clues, to your video library. Both videos can be ordered through Pete's website by contacting Pete directly or through Gamma Racket Sports. Thank you for your interest in the Successful Doubles instructional method by Pete Collins.